Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you're having an amazing time and hope you enjoyed that intro in the start. That was my friend's idea. He has an Instagram page if you guys are interested in checking him out. I'm gonna link it down in the description below. Drop a hi for him and talk about his shorts, for example. I'm not sure. So another week and another challenge, and this week the theme is the cameras on this phone. So I decided to challenge myself and leave my DSLR back home and shoot all the pictures and videos that I would have normally shot with my A6400 and just pretty much use my phone in those situations and see how it actually performs. This is not a DSLR comparison yet. I might do one of those videos a little bit later in the future. In my opinion, this is a really good situation to actually show that you can just have a phone, start shooting your pictures, get into the basics, and once you have mastered and learned those, after that obviously you can go out and buy your DSLR or a video camera, whatever you want to shoot on. So why would you want to use a phone as a primary camera when, for example, I have a Nikon 3200 or a Sony A6400? Well, the reason is that you don't always want to carry a bulky setup with you with multiple lenses and a lot of other things that you have to take in consideration when you're walking your whole day or just going out with friends. But the great thing is that you're always carrying one of these with you pretty much around if you're a modern person with some sense in your head and you want to stay connected to people, you know. So what's changing in the tech world is that these things are actually getting pretty powerful on the photography department and even in video. I took multiple samples with this one and I'm going to talk about them a little bit later. But about pictures, the great thing is that even this phone and most of the phones have started to even shoot RAW. So if you really want to go at your photos even afterwards, for example, if your lighting isn't on point or it's a little bit underexposured, whatever you want to change, for example, the colors, you can go at them a little bit later and download, for example, Adobe Lightroom on your phone or just use the phone's own software. So back in Lightroom, after importing all the raw files from my phone, it kept freaking me out that this wasn't taken with a DSLR. This is solely taken with my phone's rear camera, and the sharpness of it is just amazing. In right conditions, you can take amazing pictures with this phone, and even the darker areas have a lot of detail preserved. You can even preserve some of the lost highlights. Of course, not all of it. It's really hard to preserve direct pictures of light, but even on the darker scenes you can really pull out the colors and pull out the shadows, and even in those situations that just the picture is so sharp, so you're not really losing anything there. And even the presets inside Lightroom work perfectly with all the raw files, so I think that's a nice plus. So here we have a classic picture where you're taking a picture outside and the sun is pretty much on the high sky and it overexposes the other side of your subject and the other side is just way too dark. The great thing about shooting in RAW is that you can actually preserve those lost details either on the both side and try to balance it to get a really nice looking photo. Even on the part where you see the clouds, I could actually preserve most of the clouds so they actually look really good and detailed with really good colors, and just color editing the raw files is just amazing. I don't really like the bluish tone that you get from the phones because they usually like to over exaggerate the blues. I like to tile them down just a little bit and get them a little bit lighter. And if you have your own special style of photography, your own personality, this is really why you want to shoot in RAW, so you can actually bring them into Lightroom and get your style out. Even if it's a similar picture that somebody else has taken, you can make it look entirely different by having your own color style. In general, by the way, the camera positions is something that you have to be mindful of, that they're not on the center of the phone anymore. So when you're actually taking those pictures and lining the photos on, you have to take in consideration that it's not on the center. So some of the pictures might look a little bit tilted or on the wrong side or something. Just remember to move your phone just a little bit to the area where you want to actually take that picture of. Don't get scared that it doesn't look just right. For example, when I was taking selfies, it looked like my face was way on the other side of the screen and the only thing I had to do was pull the camera back just a little bit. So shooting video with this phone was kind of interesting too. You have all of your modes here. For example, if you're a YouTuber or just you want to shoot some B-roll or even some cinematic videos, you can actually do it with this one, which is kind of interesting. Most of the phones these days already have amazing image stabilizations that even some DSLRs don't really have yet. It's kind of cool that you also have your slow motion here. I actually got really good and sharp 4K, and even the front-facing cameras. If I'm a YouTuber and I want to make a vlog, it's kind of easy to just point the camera and shoot, or even put it on a stand and just talk into it. The great thing in this Nord is that I actually got 4K behind 30 FPS, which is cinematic. I pretty much get the 35mm back look, which is kind of cool, and I also have a really good 4K facing camera in the front with even 60 FPS. Just think about that. So if you want to really make smooth video front-facing with the front-facing cameras, it's possible with this phone. Something that was a little bit of a bummer was the low light situations. Of course, when you're using a phone's camera, it doesn't really perform that well on low lights. One of the issues that I came up with was that most of the cameras try to brighten situations that don't really need to be brightened up, especially in dark situations. I was fishing and taking some B-roll with my camera, and I noticed that in most of the dark situation, it tries to brighten up the dark to the extent that it tries to show you more detail, which ends up making the whole picture more grainy and noisy. Gladly using this Nord, and I think most of the cameras on your phones pretty much have this, or the software has it. You can just pretty much tap on a screen and just bring that brightness down, which makes the whole picture look better. It makes it a little bit darker, but it is a lot crispier, and in some situations you actually even get more detail in your pictures by doing that. So I think a pointer for them in the future, OnePlus, whoever is out there, maybe make a mode or a subsection for a mode. When it's dark, I just click it and I want to keep the image looking dark, so I could have like a custom mode that I can pretty much have my settings onto for that video, so I don't really have to adjust it every time. That's a little bit sucky. Some other thing while you're listening, maybe in the slow motion department there could be a few settings here and there, because it's really simple, it's easy to use, and it takes good slow motion. For example, this one takes 120 FPS by full HD, and some of the shots do look really good, but obviously when we're talking about phone slow motion, the resolution is just not gonna be that crisp. But in most of the situations, it does look really good. So I do say that it passes, especially on the 4K department. So if you're looking into shooting some B-roll or something with your phone's camera, it's entirely possible, and I don't really see a reason not to actually use it. So if you're looking to a budget setup to start your YouTube career, or even some cinematography works that the people do trust you, I don't really see a reason why the cameras from your phone wouldn't be viable to do that. And just editing the files afterwards from my phone, it just felt like using any other system out there, but yet again, actually importing the video out to my computer was the suckiest part. I really hope that they would do something in the future where it's a lot easier to actually find your files and to understand what you have and where you have them. So the final verdict for a phone, video and camera department is that in 2020, we have come to a point where these actually do work pretty well. Obviously, they're not gonna win a DSLR or a Digi camera out there, and they're going to destroy them in certain areas. But in most of the things where people actually use them, for example, for Instagram, Facebook, or just taking selfies, really simple YouTube videos, or even some a little bit experienced shots, if you have good lighting, I don't really see why you wouldn't use a phone system to actually do that, especially when you already have it. The only thing you really need is a computer, or even the phone's own software to just do everything inside here. So if you're out there somewhere and you don't have a laptop with you, you can pretty much just edit everything on your phone and have really good material to upload on those social media pages where you want to actually get them onto. So my final verdict is that, yeah, it passes, it does what it's supposed to do, and to be honest, it's easy and it's fun, and it doesn't really burden you in any way. You don't really have to carry any stuff or anything like that, and it's just easy to pull out and to do whatever you want to do. So that's pretty much the end of the video, and if you guys had any questions, just leave them on a comment section below, especially if it's about the phone, and if you have any video ideas, just leave them down there too. I'm gonna try to go through them as fast as I can. This coffee is still, I'm not gonna drink that anymore. And I'm gonna try to go through the comment section as well as I can, so that's pretty much what I usually do. In general, thank you for watching the video. Of course, I have an Instagram page if you guys are interested. It's linked on the description below, and my Twitter and other social media is there too. Pretty much, thank you for watching, stay sharp, and thank you OnePlus for considering me still as your ambassador. This is kind of cool.